April 1st, 2024 will forever be remembered as a night of bloodshed and horror for Mohammed Zanin. In this exclusive NBC video filmed the night of the attack, the World Central Kitchen employee at the Al-Aqsa Martyr Hospital in Deir al-Balah goes from body to body, his voice shaking into a cell phone. The foreigners, all of them are dead, he cries. He recognizes Palestinian Saif Abu Taha. He was my friend. Passports on the bodies of the deceased identify the victims of the Israeli strike on the relief convoy, including Australian national Zomi Francom. Much of the footage is too graphic to show unblurred. The injuries so catastrophic, there was no hope for the victims. The following morning, our cameras follow the bodies as they're transferred south to Rafah. Allahu Akbar. The prayer for the dead, the look of consternation and disbelief on the faces of the relief workers. How could this happen? World Central Kitchen says they had told the IDF where they were and that their vehicles were clearly marked. No one expected this. Mohammed Zanin helps load the bodies of the 6 foreign nationals onto separate ambulances, their names handwritten in both Arabic and English on plastic tarps. Damien reads one, Jacob reads another, their passports in a Ziploc bag, one damaged by the force of the explosion that obliterated their convoy. The vehicles cross into Egypt through the border gate that has not allowed nearly enough aid in and that made the World Central Kitchen sea deliveries necessary. A final mission that cost 7 dedicated humanitarians their lives.
Hala Garani joins us tonight from Jerusalem. Hala, as far as assignments go, it doesn't get more grim than what Mohammed had to do there. IDing his co-workers after that attack. He was there every step of the way. Yeah. Has he spoken out? Is he still working amid this dark time for the World Central Kitchen?
Well, when I was looking at the footage that was sent to us from Gaza by our team on the ground, he was asked questions when he was identifying the bodies, and he was in such a state of shock that he was unable to answer. He was unable to even come up with the words to express what he was experiencing. Mohammed works for World Central Kitchen, but you have to remember that their operations are now suspended and that aid organizations have suspended in large part their operations inside of Gaza. And so local Palestinian groups have filled some of that void and are distributing some of the food deliveries that organizations like WCK are unable to do right now. So that's the situation on the ground. And the hope, of course, is that if there is some sort of guarantee provided by the Israeli government that aid organizations can work in a safer environment, that those food deliveries and essential basic needs deliveries will resume, Tom.
And then, Hala, you know, when this news first broke, it was terrible just to hear about this. But then to see your story and to see their bodies and to see the massive hole that was in their vehicle from when that bomb hit, how do you think stories like this, documenting the atrocities of the war, and are going to affect the war moving forward?
So many of the images we couldn't air, not even blurred. I mean, the injuries were absolutely horrific, absolutely horrific. I think what's interesting about Israel is that when you watch news channels here, you don't really see those images. You see them a lot more abroad. You know, international news organizations might air images of Palestinian suffering or destruction more. Here, the focus is more on the hostages, on the Israeli military operation. So there's a little less of that. But internationally, if you look at polling, including in the United States, what you see emerge is a huge age divide. The 18 to 25s are much more likely to hold, you know, views that are sympathetic to Palestinians than, say, the over 65s. So you're starting to really see an interesting kind of rift develop generationally in the United States, almost more than right versus left. So that's kind of how these images, I think, are impacting public opinion, a little bit less in Israel and perhaps more internationally, Tom.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.